This episode of Now This Is Lit is brought to you by Audible. Check the link in the description to get your first Star Wars audiobook free. Everyone loves free things. Click that link. Do it. A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away. You're listening to Now This Is Lit, a podcast about Star Wars books, the people who make them, and the readers who just can't get enough of them. I'm your host, Meg Dowell. I use she, her pronouns. And imagine this. You wake up one morning to the email you've always dreamed of getting, but never thought would actually arrive. It's so unexpected that you actually don't believe it's real. It has to be a scam, right? But it's not. Suddenly all your dreams are coming true, and your life is about to change forever. This exact thing happened to artist Jake Bartok. You may know him on the internet from his Star Wars fan art and other franchise fan art, but he's also done an official Star Wars book cover too, actually. And that is very cool, and so is he. So I thought it would be fun to invite him onto the show to talk about Star Wars and art and books and just all the things that we love that bring this entire book-loving community together. So that's what we did. So here is my conversation with Jake Bartok. I hope you enjoy it as much as we did recording it. So this is cool. This is fun. We somehow managed to find a time for both of us where, despite it being different days of the week, depending on where we are respectively in the world, we hopped on a Zoom call and now we're chatting in real time, and I just love that.
Yeah, it feels weird because your time is like 7 p.m. at night, so you've done your whole day, whereas my day just begun. I'm here with my coffee still.
Oh man, I would love some coffee right now. This show is all about Star Wars books, but it's also about the people who love Star Wars and sometimes who are involved in making Star Wars books happen, or parts of those things. And because you have done so much amazing fan art and in many different capacities, and then somehow managed to turn that into actually getting to do an actual book cover that is on my shelf right now, which is absolutely wild. Yeah, I wanted to invite you on and just like talk about that and talk about you, because I don't want to just talk to readers. They're amazing. I don't want to just talk to authors who are also amazing. I want to talk to all kinds of different people, and being able to talk to an artist is something I've wanted to do. I've wanted to do that since the show started, and you're the first. So congratulations.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. So let's start by just talking about you and Star Wars and how you kind of turned your love of Star Wars into making art about that thing. Where did your fandom start for you, and kind of how did you incorporate art into that?
Yeah, it's been an interesting ride. Like way back in 1999, it's like my first memory of Star Wars, and that was being taken to go see the midnight premiere of the Phantom Menace.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like 7 or 8 at the time, and I had no idea what I was in for. I was up past my bedtime, and then just being blown away by this film, and just falling in love with it, and then getting like all the books, all the coloring in things, all the toys, and then getting the art of book was kind of my first like, oh my god, there's like people get to make art and they get to turn into a film. I was blown away. I've still got that first art book that's been like the spines wrecked because I've read through it 1,000 times. Looked at all the art by like Doug Chang and Ian McCaig, and just been in awe. And as a kid would draw, just draw in like a sketchbook of like Obi-Wan or Jedi and clones and stuff like that. But it wasn't actually till like after episode 3, it kind of like dropped off of it for a few years. Kind of there's no, apart from the Clone Wars, nothing new was kind of coming out until the new films came out.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't until about 2016, 2017, I kind of was like just done with my illustration degree, and I just fell back in. I was like, I'm just gonna like, I just really want to draw scenes and characters from like Rogue One or The Last Jedi, and then that kind of went nuts and just kind of like just began to make a lot of it. And then it wasn't kind of until 2020 that I kind of really kind of sunk my claws into like the fan art side of things and really kind of like almost became a full-time job.
Yeah.
Just to make that kind of come home from my day job back then and then work on my fantasy reimagining art.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's kind of, I've gone back and looked at some like old art from 2016 and 2015 to see how like the change in kind of what I did before then, and then you can tell the minute the new films came out and my art just pivoted hard back into what I grew up with.
Yeah, I love that. I love how, you know, we can see a movie or a show and it can just like light that fire and like inspire us to just like start creating things that are based on that, or that, you know, we thought of because of that. I love art that way, and where, you know, you could maybe go a little while without doing it, or you are busy with other things, and then you'll just have a moment where you're like, I want to do this thing, I want to draw this thing, or I want to write this thing. And that's one of my favorite things about being a creator in general, is like sometimes the best things that we create, just like we're just inspired to do it and we just do it. I love that.
Yeah, like I like, you know, I can't sew or make a costume. I can't write a fan fiction kind of inspired by a thing. I can't like not eloquent enough to do a dissection online, but what I can do is draw. I just wanted to get my feelings about what I loved about those films out there, and like art's the best way to best way I know how to do this.
Right. And you can tell when you're looking at your art that it's just like you are just coming through it. And that's one of the many things I love about your work, is you look at it and you're like, Jake did that. And it's amazing. You can just, you know, and it's like you add your own personal touch to it. And that's why so many people know of your art and so many people know who you are, because you're so cool.
It's still so strange that people know who I am and can recognize a piece by me. It's surreal in the best way. Like the fact that like you mentioned before, you've got like a cover of mine in your bookshelf, and I'm just amazed by that still.
Yeah. Yeah. And it'll be there forever. It's like you make the art and it's forever. That's so cool. Yeah. So tell me about the book cover that we just mentioned. You were so fortunate to be able to actually do a cover for Stories of Jedi and Sith, which I talked to you about it a long time ago, and that was amazing to be like, because I'd heard of you, and then when it was announced that you were doing this cover, I was like, go Jake, like that is so cool. I was so happy for you. Still am, because again, the books are here, they're not going anywhere, and it's your art, you did it. Tell me about how it felt to do that. Tell me about like that whole experience of like, you've done all this fan art and you'll continue to do it, but this cover is official and it's yours, and it's in stores, it's on bookshelves. How does that feel?
I feel like it's cliche to say it's a dream come true, but it's literally a dream come true. Like it's very different to kind of like the state of the franchise now, but like back in like the early thousands, it'd be 2 years between films, and there's no shows, there's no like anthology films or animation, so all you had was the books.
Right.
And that's how kind of like I kept my fandom alive, was going to the library and um getting a bunch of books that just like I would just kind of like jump into like book 2 of like the Han Solo trilogy, or like book 3 of like Rogue Squadron, and wouldn't care that I didn't know who was who, but it was Star Wars, and it was like a film in the palm of my hand. And it wasn't until about like 2000 and oh god, I don't know the year, but when I moved out of home, I cleaned out my room and found a battered copy of Squadron, like thrown up in the back of like a shelf where I could not see it. And I'm like, I kind of want to reread these books. And then like from 2012, 2015, I went and read from Truce at Bakura all the way through every EU book that I physically could.
Wow.
And bought them all, and I've got like boxes and boxes of them now. So like the books were kind of like, they're kind of how I relate to Star Wars kind of first, is through the books, because they're what I had.
Right.
And then fast forward to, I had to wake up at 3 o'clock because I had a young dog who needed to be let outside one day. And I come back to bed not quite awake, and then I have to just check my phone real fast. And then this email pops up, and it's like from like at Lucasfilm. And I'm like, this is a scam, right? like there's no way this is real. And then like I Google like the name, and I'm like, oh wow, this might be real. And they're asking me to draw a book. And then I'm tapping my wife, going, wake up, I need you to read this to make sure this is real, please. And then yeah, I just had an email going, hey, we've seen your work and we're big fans. Would you like to do a cover for this book and some interior art? I'm just like, 100% yes. Like, don't need to look at the contract, just yes. um, and yeah, and then what was kind of the dream come true, on top of the dream come true of that, is getting to design a second cover featuring Obi-Wan for Star Wars Celebration.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just like the cherry on top. But yeah, it was an absolute dream come true. And then getting kind of like a peek inside, like behind the scenes of like how the books are made, and getting a look at like the Lucasfilm archive images for references and stuff like that, was like I'm a kid in a candy store with all of this.
Wow, that's so cool. Yeah, that's really funny that you were like, this isn't real.
Yeah, I was like, this has to be like a scam, or someone's playing a trick on me. There's no way this is real. And then even signing the contract, I'm like, this is not real. This is like an elaborate prank. Like, this is a huge prank that someone's trying to play me. And it wasn't until it was announced online, I'm like, maybe this is real.
Oh, that is so cool. Yeah, and you were truly living the dream of so many Star Wars fans, where you literally did wake up one day and there was an email that would make all your dreams come true. I'm so happy for you, because you do so much of this art, and clearly you love it, so you keep doing it. And to see that like turn into something like this is just you deserve it, and I'm so happy that you got it.
Yeah, it's like I quit my day job back in 2020. At the end, like in December, going like, well, art's picked up now. I've gotten a few small work. Like my day job now is in comics. So like that's kind of going to pick up and give me a steady work. So I'll take the leap and quit my day job, which was stressful. And then going like, oh, the dream is to get, some Star Wars work in like 5 to 10 years. Is kind of how I thought. Like, if I work hard, 5 to 10 years.
Hmm.
And then to get the email like in the following November, I think it was, or October, I was like, there's no way this is real. Like, it's I am done. I can retire now. Like, I've hit my peak.
Oh, that is so cool. One last question for you. And really, I would just love to know why you think creating fan art is important.
Um, there's a lot of kind of answers I can give for this one.
Mhm.
Like, it's how I kind of like why I do fan art. It's kind of just a way of self expression through the art of like with Star Wars, everything is already there, so I don't
Yeah.
have to think about having to design a new thing or do that. I kind of like use that as a basis of expressing what I want, kind of through the lens. Like I am a huge fan of the good guys, like the rebels and the Jedi, and like the notion of hope.
Mhm.
Um, and kind of the yeah, so like you can kind of see through my art, I do focus a lot on that. Like that's why I was drawn to the High Republic to start with.
Right.
Um, and then like especially with like in terms of like specifically with books, um, it's kind of a way to add context to the books.
Mm.
Kind of turn what's written down into an a piece of art is quite I think can be kind of a way to explore the world just a bit more. But yeah.
Yeah, I just love, seeing fans, seeing anyone really, but seeing especially fans just going out there and creating things that they want to make that are just about the things that they love. It's such an important part of like the Star Wars franchise, for example, is like the fans just really do sometimes keep it alive. Like right now, there's not really a ton happening in terms of like TV or movies. And there are books and but there are also people out here like, just posting art that they made or doing photography and doing all these things. And it constantly amazes me that there are just so many talented, hardworking, amazing people out here just like taking something that makes them happy and then through making their art can bring joy to other fans and other people through that because they have something they love and they can share that. I love it. And I love that you are doing that and that you're going to keep doing that. And I can't wait to continue just like every once in a while, I don't go on Twitter that much anymore, but I'll go there and I'll see that you've posted something and I'm like, yeah, that's good.
Thank you. But yeah, like you said, it's seeing artists like draw things that they love is kind of a way to entice new fans going, oh, this person obviously loves this thing, like this book or this show specifically, enough to draw art. I'm going to check this out. Like I think that's a huge reason why the High Republic books kind of gained traction is seeing all the fans um do art and cosplays and everything else, make props and stuff, and kind of put their love of the books into the world, and it starts kind of a word of mouth to kind of get more fans on board.
It's amazing. And it's going to continue to, you know, keep happening where you see fans just whatever, and you were talking before how like, I may not be good at all these other things, but I have this one thing that I love doing, and this is how I express myself and like, express um my joy of this thing that I love. And like everyone has their thing. Someone might love to do cosplay, or they might do, they might draw, or they might write something. Some people do music sometimes, it's like everyone has that thing where they can contribute something that they just love doing, and it just adds so much diversity and so much joy to the fandom. And I love that we're all out here just doing that. And I'm so glad that you're part of this. And yeah, I'm so glad that we could do this too. Again, you never know, like in general, when I reach out to people, they could just never respond or, say, no, I don't want to do it, which would be fine. But you never know with these things. And you were so happy and willing to do it. And like, for it being your first podcast, this is great. This is a great conversation. And thank you so much for, sitting down with your morning coffee and doing this with me.
Yeah, like I'm always keen to sit down and chat about Star Wars. Like it's never an issue. And yeah, it's been a pleasure. I'm chronically bad at responding to messages. But I saw yours and go, oh, do you want to jump on and talk about stuff? I'm like, I will respond now and go, yes.
Yay. I'm so glad you did. Oh, this is so fun. I will have to have you back at some point. We don't have to talk about art. We can talk about Star Wars. We can talk about Star Wars books. Let's do it.
100%, yeah.
Yeah. All right, cool. Now This Is Lit is part of the Faraway Fandom Network. It is produced by Devor Montum and written, hosted, and edited by me. Jose Jimenez designed our podcast art. Keep up with the show on our Substack at starwarslitpod.substack.com and find the show wherever you get your podcasts. You can support the show by starting your free Audible trial with the link in the show notes. You can also subscribe to the Substack. There's no really good reason for doing that yet, except for if you want to support the show. It would be amazing if you did. You can also get Stories of Jedi and Sith and many other Star Wars books through my bookshop.org affiliate links. That gives me a little bit back, and you can support your local independent bookstores at the same time. But honestly, at this point, at this age of social media not being on anyone's side, the best thing you can do if you want to support the show and all the effort we're putting into making it for you is to tell people you know about it who might enjoy it. Word of mouth is surprisingly effective for podcasts and other projects like them. So if you liked this episode, or if you like the show in general, I would love it if you could tell someone about it. That is the gift that I want from you for the holidays. Speaking of holidays, next week's episode is going to be so fun. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but it's related to gifts and gift giving and books. So I hope you come back for that. For more book reviews and Star Wars book celebration, follow Star Wars Book Reviews on Instagram and TikTok.